You catch your reflection in the mirror and think, what? When did my skin start looking this tired? It feels drier, less vibrant, and the products that used to work so well are not cutting it anymore. In midlife, the pressure to fix your skin is everywhere, but maybe the goal isn't flawless. Maybe it's about feeling good in your skin again. Today, I'm joined by Dr. Mary Alice Mina, a Harvard-trained dermatologist with 20 years of experience and host of the Skin Real podcast to discuss what really matters when it comes to midlife skin confidence. What's worth your time, what's not, and how to care for your skin in a way that actually feels good. Because healthy, glowing skin after 50, it's possible, and it starts with the right perspective. This is the show for midlife women who want to stop second guessing and start feeling strong, focused, and fully themselves. I am Heike Yates, a midlife fitness expert and mindset coach. On the Pursue Your Spark podcast, I share simple, no fluff strategies for movement, mindset, and nutrition so that you can stop spinning your wheels and start showing up with strength and confidence. Because thriving in midlife doesn't start with perfection. It starts with one bold step. Strong, confident, fully you. That's how we do midlife. Welcome, Dr. Mina, to our Pursue Your Spark podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
We have a great topic today, and you are just the expert for skincare and everything related to skin. So as it is the fashion at the Pursue Your Spark podcast, we dive right in with the first question. What's one moment recently that ignited your spark?
Gosh, I would say having a podcast and getting to help women in midlife feel good about themselves has really ignited a spark in me that had maybe quieted down as I sort of got into a routine with work and family and marriage, and as things are, right, when life just keeps going by, and realizing that I can actually help people beyond my clinic walls. And it's just been a ton of fun to get to meet amazing, interesting people like you and just help women realize midlife isn't when we get put out to pasture and all hope is lost, that we actually can have this amazing, vibrant life, and we should.
I love that. Put out to pasture is a great way to put it. You know, this is how I feel about my business as well. I have a Pilates brick and mortar studio, and you're confined into the walls, and then you're like, now I can have and you have a podcast, so you can meet new people. You come on other people's shows, but you also can help with telemedicine, all the people that can't come to you, which I think is definitely a way to ignite your spark in our lives.
Now, well, and sometimes so much of what I do is not even medical, right? Like it's just basic stuff like take care of your body, watch what you eat, what products to use, what not to use. Like very, to me, it seems like, oh, doesn't everyone know this, right? But they don't. And there's so much noise out there that I think it's important for people like dermatologists to really be the voice of reason in this very cluttered, noisy space.
Oh my God, yes. What are the biggest skin changes that we can expect in midlife? Because we're going from the mid-50s and up, and our skin changes. And what I hear is like, oh, you still have acne from when you are older, or what can we expect as we get older?
Yeah. So I would even bring that number down to, I would say it seems to be around 40 plus. I'm speaking personally, right? But also with a lot of my patients and friends, I feel like that is where people start to notice, oh, wait a minute, things are looking different. They may feel like they look more tired. They may feel like their skin is really dry. A big thing for me is that I wasn't really I was like burning the candle at both ends. I had a career, I had family, and I wasn't prioritizing my health, like sleep, mental health, exercise, diet. And I sort of was able to get by and fake it when I was younger. But once I hit my 40s, I realized, okay, things were starting to catch up with me and that I really needed to pivot and make a change. So I do find even 40 plus perimenopause, the average age of menopause in the US is, I believe, 51. So that means there are
Yeah.
plenty of people who are going to develop it before, some after, but I would find most women are noticing changes in their 40s, if not going through menopause. And that is a lack of estrogen. Our skin is full of estrogen receptors, like so many organs in our body. And so I would say some of the early things people notice, fine lines and wrinkles. They feel like their face is falling. They don't have as much laxity, right? Like I'll notice like the skin on my hand, I can pinch it and it's not as robust and thick as it used to be. A depletion of collagen. Those are the visible signs that I think people start to notice even in the 40s. And then it just continues as we go through menopause and beyond.
What is your take on collagen, since you mentioned collagen and it's really being hyped in the media, which a little bit ties into my next question. But is it beneficial to drink collagen or take it as a supplement? Is it better to apply it to the skin? Is it really making a change in the collagen production of your skin?
Yeah. So I joke that I'm in my collagen banking era because I know when I hit menopause, I'm going to see like a 30% drop. All women do or can see up to 30% drop right after menopause. And so, we are slowly losing collagen, even in our early 20s, a rate about 1%. But midlife, this is where we see it really I don't want to say tank, but really start to go down. So yes, I am all about boosting collagen. There are so many ways to do it. You asked me specifically about collagen powder. I don't personally do it. There is some data showing it can be helpful. So I certainly wouldn't fault anyone to do it. It would be amazing if it did truly help. I think it's one of several things we can do. I don't think you can just put in 2 scoops of your collagen powder and think your collagen is going to look like you were 18. But can it be helpful? There actually is some data suggesting it could be. So I think that's a relatively affordable, not going to hurt your wallet, not going to cause any harm. Certainly you can do that. And there have been some studies showing it may help.
May help, yeah. So let's go to the trends and product overload, because I look on Instagram and I see so much out there. Take this, do that for your skin. How do we cut through the noise and focus on what really matters in our skincare routine?
Yeah, it's very, very hard. I am a dermatologist and it still overwhelms me. I just got back from a conference and I go down to the exhibit halls because I want to see what's new, what people are talking about. And I am just overwhelmed. Like there's so many amazing skincare companies. And I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe I do need this. Maybe I need that. Maybe I need, all these things. So it's overwhelming for sure. And I really recommend keeping it simple for a couple reasons. You're more likely to stick with a simple routine. Most of us are not going to spend 30 minutes 45 minutes, an hour in the morning or at night doing our skincare routine. It's just, we've got other things to do, right? So keeping it simple is going to help with consistency. I also think so much is hyped right now, and we don't really know if it works or not. And it can get really, really expensive. So the main things you need, we were talking about collagen boosting, but if you really want to save your collagen, the best way I can think of is sun protection, because the sun is one of the fastest accelerators of collagen depletion through UV radiation, free oxygen radicals. So, talk about keeping it natural and simple, right? Like wear that hat, wear that UPF clothing, and wear that daily sunscreen. That is going to get you way farther than the supplement, doing a collagen supplement. Now you could do both, I guess, but so sunscreen, moisturizer, this is really key as we get older. I used to have very oily skin, never needed a moisturizer. My sunscreen was my moisturizer. I'd wash my face and my skin would be oily 30 minutes later. But as I'm getting older, I do need a moisturizer, and I'm really loving estrogen cream. So this is something that women have been using in, vaginal estrogen cream for decades. In fact, I think even in the 40s, it was very common to be in skincare products, and then it kind of went away for a while. But women, I'll hear stories from some of my older patients, and they'll be telling me, "Oh yeah, I've been using my vaginal estrogen cream on my face and my hands and my chest for forever." But now it's becoming more mainstream, and now they're actually formulating products just for the skin of your face. So I think that's a great option for women in this period of life, because we know how helpful it is in the genital area, and our skin has tons of estrogen receptors. So that's something that I think is helpful in this age group. Moisturizers in general are really, really important. Excuse me. As we know, our skin cannot hold on to moisture as well as we get older. And a gentle cleanser, right? Like I do find I don't wash my face as much as I used to. I always do it at the end of the day, but I certainly don't wash it in the morning. It's can just be too dry, and so I just splash water on. But that's kind of like a true minimalist regimen, if you will. I like to be a little bit fancier than that. So I do a tretinoin or a retinoid in the evening, which is I would say it's our most studied potent collagen boosting cream out there. Amazing data behind it. It won't, you get the prescription from your dermatologist, and it's a little jar will last a long, long time. So that's a great collagen booster. And I am getting into exosomes and peptides. I think this is something we're going to be seeing a lot more of. So I have started to incorporate an exosome into my night routine, but certainly you don't have to.
What do these do? What are exosomes? For somebody's like, what is she talking about? Because I know that my listeners are going, sitting down if they can and write down brand names and things like this. And we'll send them all to your website to look at all this, what you have to offer and what you suggest, and perhaps even schedule a consultation with you if that's what they choose to. So without like naming brands, but what is in those products that make such a difference? So the layman understands it.
Yeah, well, so exosomes, I think we'll be hearing a ton about this. Probably already are, but again, also caution that there's a lot of snake oil out there as well. But most people have probably heard of stem cells, and that stem cells can become really any cell in our body. And so for, I would say, decades, people have been thinking, how can we use stem cells to grow new organs, to heal skin, to get rid of what we call senescent cells or zombie cells that are making our body age faster. And what we've realized is that stem cells are really complicated. There are some ethical concerns. They have to be fresh. They're hard to get. And so what researchers have now looked at is that stem cells, the message from stem cells is carried in exosomes. So exosomes are like little envelopes carrying the message from the stem cells. So perhaps we don't really need the stem cells. We just need the message from the stem cells carried in little exosomes. So exosome is just a carrier molecule. Exosome in and of itself doesn't mean anything good or bad. It's what it's carrying that's important. And so at least here in the US, they're only available topically. They are not approved at all to be injected or, IVs or anything like that. So steer clear of that until we have more data. But there are some companies that are science-backed by, big universities and researchers looking at exosomes for helping prevent premature aging or accelerated aging. And then also like really cool things like wound healing and how do we heal organs, right? Like, exosomes can be used beyond just like the beauty world, but that's where right now we're starting to see it marketed. And you have to just be careful where you're buying it from. Where are these really exosomes in the product? Unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess, but for what it is, cosmetic products aren't regulated like
Yeah.
medications. And so same thing with supplements, right? Like people can really claim a lot of things and they don't have to back it up. So you do need to be a little bit, do some due diligence if you're buying some of these pricier products. You had mentioned earlier about collagen, like cream. And again, just a word to your listeners is collagen is a huge molecule. And if you're buying a collagen cream, it's really impossible for that collagen to get into your skin, into the dermis where we want it to be. So when I see that, I'm like, the collagen isn't really getting in. So it's just important to know um, what products, what they claim is not always correct.
Is it then, and I had a little bit exposure with, experiment with those creams that are saying, yes, we stimulate your collagen with this cream that is from Italy and it's rubbed into the skin and it massaged in, and it appeared that my skin looked plumper. And then the next step would have been the needling, where you needle and then you put that same cream on. And then I was getting gun shy because I was like, I don't look that bad, and I feel I look good. I need a little lift. But with that whole collagen conversation, I was like, so what I'm hearing is that maybe I shouldn't waste my money on that cream.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Like same thing with peptides, right? Like peptides
Mhm.
are another popular thing we're hearing about, and peptides are basically just like amino acids that are clumped together that then become protein, and collagen is a protein. And I have to be honest, I'm still confused about peptides, right? Because there is some data showing that peptides can be helpful, that they can stimulate collagen and cell renewal and things like that. But does every single peptide do that? And how do I know if the peptide's really getting into my skin? So there's still a lot of gray areas. Of course, the companies tell me, oh, yeah, ours does, ours gets into the skin, but does it really? I don't know. So I'm still kind of I'm still uncertain about that.
On
And
the
I would just be
fence.
leery of companies that are telling you for sure it is getting into the skin, unless they've really done the data and you've actually like seen their reports. The thing about microneedling, it sounds like you were talking about, we do know that when you cause little micro trauma to the skin, that does stimulate wound healing and fibroblast and collagen. So we do know that can be helpful. And then putting a product on top of those little channels will facilitate it going into the skin. So that is true.
Mhm.
But is it, do you need it? Is it necessary? That's really like a conversation to have with your dermatologist. Like what's sort of the goal here? What are we trying to achieve?
Yeah, I agree. And it's always important to have a trusted source and see, you maybe have a friend who tried out that person and you see the results. You can clearly see there was a difference, that when you start then talking to that person, or call you or email you and ask more questions. I think we rely too often, too quickly on what we hear, what we see, what it might be, and not do enough research ourselves and have an educated decision for the things we want to do. And we forget about the simple things. And you mentioned them already earlier, which is sunscreen. My dermatologist I recently went and have my skin checkup, my annual, and she looks at my face and she says, are you using sunscreen? The 50 that I told you to use because it's really covering you. And she's like, yeah, make sure that you do that. But you also touched on rest, sleep, eating. Tell us more about it from your point of view as a dermatologist, because my listeners know about how I feel about it, but I don't know anything about skin other than building muscle and making you stronger.
Right. Yeah. And you know what? Before I answer that, I just want to mention when you had said you put that cream on and you did feel like your skin looked better and plumper. I hear that a lot. And I would, maybe what was in there was doing something. I don't know. But simply putting a moisturizer on your skin, period, makes your skin look better. Right. So
Yep.
just hydration alone, a moisturizer, will just make your skin look better. I know sometimes at the end of my day, I'm like kind of tired. I can feel my skin's dry and I'll put moisturizer on. I'm like, oh my gosh, I look so much better. And it's, it's just like drugstore CeraVe moisturizer, right? And so yeah, just moisturizer alone will make your skin look better. All right. So yeah. So talking about, I think one area I'd like to change is that we think about skincare as what do I need to put on my skin, right? What serum, what magic, I call it like products, potions, and procedures, right? And there are some amazing things we can do, especially in office. And I'm a big fan of tretinoin and sunscreen and doing stuff like that. But we forget that our skin is more than just our face, right? I feel like people just think it's a face, maybe a neck now, face and neck, but it's an actual organ system, right? Like your heart, your lungs. Yeah, our skin does so much more than just aesthetics and beauty, right? Our skin has amazing protection for the rest of our body, keeping viruses, bacteria, microbes out, and keeping moisture and hydration in. So it's a phenomenal organ system, and I think we sometimes just think it's for aesthetics and beauty, right? Which I get because it's very visible and all that, but we have to treat it with a little more respect, right? Like we can't eat crap, don't sleep, drink a ton, and wonder why isn't that serum working, right? Like why aren't I looking youthful in the morning because I'm using tretinoin and sunscreen, right? Like if you're wearing your body down, it's going to show up in your skin. So you can think of your skin as being a mirror to your inner health. And I love dermatology because I've been able to make diagnoses of internal conditions for my patients, some genetic, some with diabetes, some with their lungs, because I can see the changes in their skin or their nails or their hair before the lab tests come back or before the patient notices a difference, right? Or the person. So your skin reflects how well you take care of your body. So if you're eating a ton of processed food and sugar, your skin is going to age faster. If you're smoking, your skin's going to age faster. But even things like stress. I used to think I didn't need any mindset work. I'm confident. I can deal with stress. I do yoga once a week, and what I realize is our mind is so, so powerful. So think about what you say to yourself when you look in the mirror. Do you look in the mirror and think, oh God, you're so disgusting. You look terrible. Look at those wrinkles. Maybe you don't even, maybe you avoid looking in mirrors, right? Because you're just can't stand what you see. Like those little things, like you probably don't even realize you're saying it, right? But those things we say and think about ourselves impact how we see ourselves, how we view ourselves, how we view our world. And, people are like, okay, back off. You're a dermatologist. You're getting too like out there, but all of that matters. And I don't think we spend enough time talking about it.
If you've been feeling stuck or stretched thin, this is your reminder to do something just for you. Pursue Your Spark. My book, ebook, and audiobook will help you feel strong, confident, and inspired again. It's the perfect gift for yourself or another woman who needs that spark. You'll find it on Amazon Kindle, Apple Books, Kobo, Audible, and Spotify. And I also will put a link in the show notes for you. Yeah, I mean, we talk occasionally about the antioxidants and the foods, and then occasionally eat all your vegetables, eat the rainbow, but never really that much in regard to our skin. When we, for instance, at the Pursue Your Spark, we talk about intermittent fasting and gut health and the importance of what we're putting in our gut and how we digest our foods. And to me, that's almost similar than to our skin. Our skin digests all those little molecules that we're eating and feeding and being spread out all over our body. So if you eat I know this is so cliche, your McDonald's, you eat your burger and your fries every day, but may as it be, your skin will look it, and you just said it. It will not look fresh and nourished and have moisture. It will look dry and unhappy because it doesn't get any vitamins and minerals.
Yep, 100%. And it's, it'd be so much easier, right? If we could just market it in like a pill or here, do this and it's all better. But really, we're just now, I think, skimming the surface on the gut, skin, brain connection and how
Yeah.
all of this is connected and super powerful. But I think, too, especially for middle aged women, like midlife women, our mindset about aging is so important. How do you look at aging? And they've actually done studies that show people who have a more positive feeling and thoughts about aging are healthier, fewer chronic diseases, and live longer. So I find mindset and how you think about aging is super critical because you can come see me and I can do all these treatments on you, but if you haven't first done the work here, you're not going to be happy. And I know this because I see patients who outwardly are beautiful, but they
Mhm.
don't see it, and they've chosen to fixate on like one flaw or one thing that they don't see as perfect, and they cannot look beyond that.
Yeah. How we move forward and live fully, which brings me to the hot girl hamster wheel. I just love that term. I'm like, oh, we're going to use this on the show. Let's break free because we're breaking free in the Pursue Your Spark book. So we also now break free from the hot girl hamster wheel trends. How can we break free from that? We see it on Instagram all day long. We may, as we all figured out, we just look at our face and say, oh, I got saggy skin. And suddenly an ad pops up and they all know that we just decided that we have saggy skin. What do we do, Dr. Mina?
I know it is hard, and I'm laughing because it's not like I'm immune to this either, right? And I call it the hot girl hamster wheel because it starts out really innocent, right? Like we do a few things. I notice some gray. I start coloring my hair. Now it's a little more often. Um, you might get your Botox and then now you're getting laser and oh, we got to do the tightening. And it all started actually, I was in a book club with a bunch of women and we were texting back and forth about, they were asking questions about mouth taping and facial yoga and lymphatic drainage and dry brushing and like all these things, and they were writing out like their schedules of when they do all these things, and it made me laugh because it was like they were truly getting overwhelmed by all these like tasks they had to do, and I'm thinking it's not even enjoyable to you anymore, right? It just becomes these like check boxes, and we're paranoid to stop anything for fear of getting old and looking and what that might mean or to us, right? So the way I see it is first you have to do an audit. You have to look at what you're actually doing. You have to be honest with yourself. And so, it doesn't have to be fancy, but just jot out, do 90 days if you want. Like, what are the beauty things you do in 90 days? Like, maybe you get a massage, maybe you color your hair, maybe you love getting your facial, maybe, whatever you do, Botox, whatever it is. And then write out like how often you have to do it. Is this something you do weekly? Is it something you do monthly? And then write out the cost, right? Like, how much are these things actually costing you? I think you would be surprised when you add them all up, how that $60, nails every 2 weeks really does add up. And then equally important is to write out your level of enjoyment. So, use a 1 through 5 scale. 5, you love it so much, you're never going to stop. I love massages. I'm never going to stop. I've never had a facial, and people are like, well, why not? I'm like, well, I guess I just don't really feel like I need one. So, and if there's stuff you hate, like, oh, I hate getting my eyebrows threaded or microblade or whatever it is, like, really sit down and think, well, why am I doing that? Like, is it really making a difference? I hate it. It costs this much money. I have to do it this often. And so things that are like ones and twos, cross them off your list. At least try taking them off and see what happens. And I bet
Mhm.
you won't even notice a difference. And in fact, you might even be like relieved, right? and feel like you have more time. So and I think the things that you really love doing, do. I'm not ready to not color my hair. I'm not ready to have gray hair yet. So I'm going to keep doing that. Yes. You look amazing though. So when I see that, I'm kind of like, well, could I, do this? But to me, I enjoy that. I enjoy my massages. I don't do a lot of the other stuff though, because I just don't feel like I need it, right? Like I'd rather use my time on other things. So I'm not saying take all the joy out and take all the fun out of your beauty routines and things that you truly enjoy and you think makes a difference. Do it. But I just think we just start adding to our plate and we forget to actually pause and see, why am I really doing this? So that's just my advice. And just because your friend does it doesn't mean you have to do it, right? Just because who is it? Kris Jenner got a facelift. I mean, she does look amazing, but it doesn't mean you have to do it, right? You can be your own person. So I think that's the other thing is like, you don't have to look like everyone else. It's okay to look like yourself. It's okay to look 45, 50, 55. Like you don't need to look like you did at 20, which I will have patients bring in pictures from when they were in their 20s and they're in their 70s and they want to go back to that. Like we can't do that, right? So I think trying to also just appreciate where you are in that moment is really important and powerful too. Because if you're always kind of wishing you could go back, wishing you look like you did at 25, you're going to be, again, that's the mindset, right? Like you're going to be disappointed. And that's when people start to look weird because they start doing too much and then it gets off the rails.
Yeah. And I think too that your approach is just like ours, your Pursue Your Spark, is the whole body health. It's just not one thing. You take care of your hair. I personally will not let go of acupuncture. I'm a huge fan of acupuncture. That's my thing. But it's
do it.
it's fun. It gives me an energy boost, and she can treat anything that's, if I don't sleep well, she puts a needle in God knows where. Yeah. Or, if I have allergies, then I get needles in my head, and it works great for me. So acupuncture would be something I would not let go. But it's the whole body health. It's like and you said it too, we get overwhelmed, we get frustrated, we get overwhelmed by too much information. We get frustrated by not seeing the results that social media shows us. And we forget that we all age differently. Right. What the woman at 90 can do when you're only 60 doesn't mean diddly squat. If the 80-year-old has great skin and you at 40 struggle with it, it means nothing. It means you're an individual. And you need different approaches to where you are, where your skin is, where your body is, and embrace that. Because aging is not the death sentence, or like you said, go put out in the pasture. We're not being put out in the pasture because there's no reason for that. And when you think about all the options, you touched on that earlier. So if you said to somebody, what should I actually invest in? Let's talk about that one more time. When I look at taking care of my skin, what should I do?
Well, first and foremost, I would think about your whole health, right? Like you were saying, like assess how you're taking care of your body as a whole, right? Are you exercising? It's amazing. Like I think they say like exercise is one of the best like antidepressants out there. It's so powerful. And I am not by any means like a gym fiend at all. But I've never regretted exercise, right? When you do it. So, and certainly midlife, building muscle is so important. Right. So building that muscle, we know we're going to lose that muscle. So keeping it as strong as possible. Your diet, think about how you're eating. If I love my sweets, I'm all about balance. I am not at all like restrictive, but like I try to make my plate colorful. I try to have lean protein, berries, vegetables, plant forward. Do I have sweets? Yeah, of course. I actually love to bake, but I try to be selective on my sweets rather than a candy bar, something maybe homemade or, more decadent if I'm going to spin the calories, right? Alcohol. Like I used to have a lot more alcohol, like maybe even a glass of wine a night. When I was, I feel like during COVID, right? And
Yes.
now I realize I just don't feel as good when I have it. And I still enjoy it. Like I feel like it's for social things. Like I don't want to totally stop. I enjoy it with, but again, like moderation, right? Like
Moderation.
life is meant to be enjoyed. So when I do see people who are so restrictive, it does make me kind of sad because like I don't know if I want to live a life that is totally devoid of enjoyment and pleasure and things like that. But just be smart about it. It doesn't need to be every night. Like I have to tell my kids now, like, we don't need a dessert with every single meal. Like, let's just have it at one meal. But yeah, so taking care of your body, right? Like, you can't underestimate the power of that. Sleep is so critical, especially I feel like in midlife, and I know it's hard for a lot of women going through menopause to get a good night's sleep, but building healthy habits. I would say one thing that I'm trying to work on too is like our phones. We are on social media so much, and I have to be on it, right? Like that's where people are, but it's hard not to look at social media and not compare yourself and not to feel down, right? Like, oh, I didn't go on that trip. Oh, I don't look that good. Or why did I not get that many likes? So I think just being mindful of the time you spend, how you spend your time. And if going on social media tends to make you feel bad about yourself, I would try to really limit that. Cause you have to realize like it's so much is filtered. People forget what real skin looks like. I love the posts where people show like celebrities without the filters because it's like, yes, like that is real skin. It has pores, it has lines. That is what real skin looks like. And then just I would say try to establish a relationship with a dermatologist you trust. I mean, that's really going to be so impactful for your skin. They can kind of help you cut through the noise. What do I really need? What should I be, what are like my splurge in office procedures that could really give me the greatest bang for my buck? Or, they can kind of come up with a short-term and a long-term plan for you, right? Like, that's the other thing. People think skincare or like they do one thing and they should have beautiful, amazing skin with all sun damage reversed and all that. And it doesn't work like that. It's like exercise and weight loss. It takes time. It takes consistent effort. And really like your dermatologist is the best person to help you with that. And to also help you in this period where we are seeing skin cancer. Doing skin cancer surveillance is making sure there's nothing dangerous on your skin as well.
Yeah. And I just, like I said, I had went just in, she took 2 lesions off. And every time she took one off, she said, can I take it off? And I said, why do you keep asking me? And she says, well, I have to ask permission to do it. And I said, would somebody really say, no. This could be cancer. Keep it there. I will not let you take it off. And she said, you would be surprised how many arguments I've had in the past with people who think they're the dermatologist, they're the doctor, they're the experts. And they're like, no, it's not in the right shape. It's, you don't understand. And I saw on Google or whatever they saw. And I said, seriously? So here we have the dermatologist, the expert right here, Dr. Mina, knows all her stuff. You can reach out to her. You can find her on all the links we put in the show notes. And you can ask her all these questions because we're not here to sell you products. Because I know some of the listeners may say, oh man, I just really want to know what exactly I should buy. I can hear it. I can literally hear it.
Yeah, they're like, no, that's all great. But literally, what should I buy?
What should I buy? Tell me. And that's when the expert comes in. Because we have, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of listeners on the show, and everybody's different, just like we discussed earlier. So we're not telling you what products to buy, but to reach out to Dr. Mina and get an educated decision, have a conversation, and don't get bought into the hamster wheel of beauty and spend your money. It's like you said earlier, spend your money on hundreds of thousands of dollars on products that don't work, that you throw away, and they potentially actually damage your skin, which I think can happen as well.
Yeah.
But
And do the things that bring you joy, right? Like do
yes,
the personal beauty that bring you joy. But don't waste your time on the things you don't love.
yep, I agree. So this was so lovely to have you here, Dr. Mina, and share the skin routine and perspective for women in midlife from a dermatology perspective, which is great.
Yeah. Well, this was a lot of fun. I mean, I feel like, we're speaking the same language here, right? Like,
And that's what we need to do in the health and fitness industry. We
yeah.
need to have each other's backs. And it's not that I would say, oh, now she's buying her product, she's getting her consultation, but people are not seeking a consultation with me. Maybe I shouldn't have her on the podcast. So no.
Right. A rising tide raises all ships, right? And I just think women need this information, right? Like they need the counter point to all the marketing we're getting, which is a ton. So I just love that there are women in midlife now who are celebrating this period and saying, we're not going away. We're not, past our prime. We still have a lot of life in us.
Absolutely. What Dr. Mina said today is such a powerful reminder. You're not imagining these changes and you're not doing anything wrong. Your skin, your energy, your whole body, they're reacting to a new season of life. And that confusion you feel, that why is my body doing this moment? Next week, we're going right into one of the biggest worries women share, the belief that a slowing metabolism is suddenly working against them. But what if the thing you're blaming isn't actually the villain? That's where we're headed. You won't want to miss this episode.